Awesome. Sorry you have to see so many faces of me. So hi, everybody. My name is Amir Shevat, and I'm the Director of Developer Relations in Slack. How many of you use Slack? OK, you're awesome. Thank you. This is a mental model I have of myself. I admit I have a little bit less hair than this dude. But my teams help companies like Salesforce, like Google, like Amazon, like many startups, to connect and build productive integrations over Slack. So that's what I do, and that's the mental model I have of myself. By the way, do you know that why he does like that? So he actually went to the synagogue with my grandfather in Montreal. And if you go into the synagogue and you'll see what the Kohens are doing when they're praying, they do this. So he saw this as a strange sign, and when they asked him to do the spok, to live long and prosper, he took that sign that he remembered from synagogue. So fun fact. Before I jump into this presentation and to talk about why are bots important and why AI is important, I want to ask an important question. How many of you like to do expense reports? It's amazing. I do this presentation 3-4 times a week, and nobody likes to raise their arms. And this is strange because if you think about expense reports, it's a delightful experience, right? You paid for something, and now the company is paying you back. So we should all wake up in the morning saying, yeah, I love to do expense reports. I'm all for expense reports today, right? But why are these experiences so bad? They're bad because you need to go into multiple OAuth. You need to go into a cumbersome user experience. You need to have a non-productive day, and you lose time, and it's not fun. But when I ask a room full of VPs who here likes to do expense reports, they usually raise their hands. Why is that? They say, I pay for something, and then my personal assistant does the work, right? So it is a delightful experience for them. So the vision here is that all of you, in a year or two, will have a personal experience, will have a personal assistant that will help you do all the crappy things that you don't want to do in work, and make your work life simpler, more pleasant, and more productive. So let's talk about bots. Bots are a new user experience. They're a way to surface a service or a product or a business workflow inside a messaging application like Slack. Most users live now inside Slack. Millennials do that even more, and Slack becomes where work happens. It's really important because our users are really engaged, and they want to do more in Slack. But before we talk about bots in Slack, just one point, bots are only as good as the service that you provide. So the first learning, this will be at the test at the end of my presentation, is create a great service, and then you can expose it with a bot or any other interface. This is a great bot that I really like, not over Slack, but over email. It's called Amy. It's from a startup called X.ai. And what it does, it sets meetings for me. So I do about 12 meetings a day. And you know that setting up all these meetings is a pain, right? So I have Amy to set up all the meetings for me. You email me and say, hey, Amir, let's meet next week. I CC Amy on the correspondence, and it takes care of everything. I pay about $42 a month for Amy, and it's about 10 cents an email. It sends about 400 emails on my behalf, which is mind-blowing for that price. People send love letters to Amy. People CC me on thank you letters for Amy. They don't know that Amy is software. They don't know that Amy has a brother called Andrew that you can choose the gender now. So Amy is amazing, and the fact that it saves me so much time and I pay so little for it is a key value proposition for me. Another example is the stats bot. This is actually on Slack, but the key here is that I don't need to access my Google Analytics anymore. I don't need to do all my, this is from my blog, so you see it's not performing very well. But you can actually get a lot of insights inside Slack. So you go in, you talk to StatsBot. StatsBot talks to all your Mixpanel and Google Analytics, and it gives you insight inside Slack. And that's, for me, that's pretty useful. This is something that we're doubling down on, which is taking actions inside a conversation. So we talked about doing expense report, but also approving vacation requests is also a big pain, right? Although it should be delightful, you have to go and click on a link and go into a website which doesn't support mobile, and then you say, okay, shit, I need to remember to do that when I'm next to my computer. All these business processes are pretty hard. But once this comes in and say, hey, would you like to approve this inside my chat application, and I just click on approve, wouldn't that be awesome? So this is where we're taking the industry, towards bots that help you actually take action and be productive. And here's I can do a back, clicked on a button, and that's it. No need to go into any other systems. So we're partnering with many companies to facilitate different workflows. This is a workflow we partner with Trello to do task management over Slack. And as you can see, you can actually take a lot of the interactions and turn them into a conversational interface. And to tango after me, we'll talk about another interesting use case. This is another use case, super interesting. I had a quote from one of our executives, a VP level, saying that they forgot their username and password for Salesforce. And I said, how could that be? You're like a VP in a company. He said, I don't need that. I have that inside Slack. And this is amazing, like augmenting sales conversation with account information as you do the conversation is so powerful, because then you don't need to leave the conversation, go into your Salesforce, check your facts, cut and paste, put them back in the conversation. This takes our productivity to the next level. Why is this important to Slack? So we don't charge for these apps, and we don't take rev share. But this is important because we found out that there's a strong correlation between the use of AI and bots on our platform and paying users. So quite surprisingly, users pay us for our service. And 90% of our paid teams use integrations. They use about 8 and more integrations. And this is very, very important, because as a platform company, we see direct correlation between bots and AI on our platform and paid users. So this is a vanity metric about how many integrations. What I measure myself on is how many of these integrations are used. So I'm less worried about the first number. It could be 13 or 13K or 3 or this number. I'm more worried about the last number, how many people are actually using useful integrations and useful workflows over Slack. And this is a fund. So we opened a Slack fund, which is $80 million. $20 million is out of our money, and $60 million is our investors becoming our LPs. It's managed as a fund, and we're looking for 2 theses. One of them is bots or integrations that implement things and use cases over our platform. So HR over Slack, finance over Slack, things like that. And the other one is NLP and AI tool sets that help bots become better and create better integrations. So this is it. This is a book I'm writing, which is about to be published in about 2 weeks. I used to have hair before I started writing it. If you want to talk about writing books, it's a lot of work. But if you're interested in the design and product aspects of building workflows, both for Slack, Kik, and Facebook, I recommend you check this out. And that's it. Thank you very much.